AI is getting shoved into every facet of Windows 11. Like, Notepad has AI, Paint has AI. Nobody asked for this. Hi YouTube and welcome to my channel. My name is Patrick. It's no secret that people don't really like to use Windows. People just use Windows because they essentially have to. And that's why I want to take a moment today to sit down and hash out all the reasons why Windows is such a crappy operating system. Are you running Windows right now? Are you thinking of switching to Linux or maybe Mac OS? With all of that being said, let's dig right in. When it comes to modern operating systems that still get security updates, so basically the bare minimum you should look for, Windows 11 stands out, and not in a good way. See, the thing with Windows 11 is that it's just a really crappy operating system. I hazard to say it may be the worst version of Windows to this day, and yes, I am considering Vista and Windows 8. It may be controversial, but I think Windows 11 is worse than Windows 8, especially 8.1. But maybe that's a video for another time. Let's focus on Windows 11. So, first and foremost, Windows 11 is incredibly bloated. There are redundant apps for just about every feature that you could look for, and the whole thing is just rammed to the frickin' brim with tons of crap that you don't need, especially stuff that you can't uninstall, like Microsoft Edge. And don't get me started, so Windows 11 comes with a bunch of advertisements for apps in the start menu, and you can unpin these and uninstall them, and that's all well and good. But then when Windows updates, it loads a fresh set of ads for your start menu, and it's like, of all things that should be holy, it is the start menu. Of all things that shouldn't be infested with ads, it should be the start menu. And yet they slap all the ads they possibly can right there, and for that matter, on every facet of the operating system, it's just an ad hellscape. Like, they have to... it's so frustrating. Another thing about Windows 11 is that it's very heavy on resources. I can barely get it working adequately on a machine with 16 gigs of RAM. All of Microsoft's apps these days are built on Chromium, essentially, and that means that they're really resource heavy, and that they bog down your computer with a ton of crap that's not necessary. Like, what happens to efficient software? Software that was as small as possible, that did its job and just its job. Software that serves the user rather than the vendor. Software that actually functions and only uses what is necessary. Instead, what we get is a bunch of Electron apps with Chromium powering each of them, a new instance of it each time. Like, Microsoft Teams regularly takes up 1.5 to 2 gigabytes of RAM on my Windows system. Why does Microsoft Teams need to be 2 gigabytes in your RAM? Like, that's just obscene. Like, chat applications with inline pictures and all the features that Teams have come in way smaller than that all the time. Case in point, on the iPad, the Microsoft Teams app only uses a couple hundred megabytes of RAM, which is about what I would expect of it. But look, this video is not about Teams, although I have enough thoughts on Teams that I could make a whole video about it. I don't think you guys would find that too interesting, though. But my point with all of this is that Microsoft's applications and their operating system just get heavier and heavier and heavier, and it uses up all of your computer's resources just to run the basic operating system. Like, I don't know how people survive on 8 gigabytes of RAM anymore. Like, the bare minimum is absolutely 16, and even that's starting to not be enough, which is just ridiculous. For context, Windows 98 operated on 16 megabytes of RAM. 16 megabytes. And it does everything better than Windows 11. Another neat thing about Windows is that it has tons of different user interface ideas. Like, there's user interface elements left over from the Windows 3.1 days. There's user interface elements left over from XP. There's interface elements left over from every version of Windows ever. And the problem is they keep just making new application frameworks, like visual frameworks, and then they support them for a few years, and then they go into like a vintage status where they just get security updates. And with every version of Windows, they come out with some grand new application UI system. And instead of replacing all of the legacy parts of the system with this new design, what they do is they slap it on the top layer of paint, and that's it. As soon as you scratch that top layer of paint, all the cruft from all the years before becomes visually apparent. And speaking of which, the Settings app and the Control panel are still two separate things, and each of them link back and forth to one another a whole bunch. It's just frustrating. So Windows is not known for its privacy. It never has been. However, Windows 98 sent very limited telemetry to Microsoft, and they still were surviving just fine off that. The problem these days is that everything has an internet connection, and everything for the most part has a pretty beefy processor relative to the years before. And because of this, it is now possible to collect data on a scale that was unimagined by man just a few years ago. And Microsoft has taken full advantage of this. Microsoft makes sure to collect every little bit of interaction you perform with your computer. In fact, if you go into the Settings app and go into the Privacy and Security section, you can go in there and turn off all of the different toggles for all the extra stuff that Microsoft wants you to send them. Stuff like the history of application launches on your computer. Why does Microsoft need to know when and what application I launched? That is not their business. That is creepy, but it's enabled by default, and you have to go out of your way to disable it. And that's just one example. There's a ton of these buried throughout the different menus in the Settings app. It's confusing, and that's on purpose. Worse than that, when you run Windows updates and it updates to a new major version, it very well may just switch those settings back to enabled. Like, it will blatantly ignore your preferences that you set in the Settings app and set them back to whatever Microsoft wants. So, like, because of that, there's no way to be confident that your computer is private. There's just no way to do that. And also, if you think your computer's private, you're very wrong. Even the setup process, where you're first getting your computer hooked up to the internet, sends out hundreds of analytics to different partners like Google, and they're beaming this information out before you even get a chance to read the license agreement. Which is, okay, yeah, the license agreement does come before that, I will say, but it's not exactly giving you an option, it's just saying this is what's going to happen. Essentially, nothing that you do on Windows is going to be private. If you're looking for privacy, which you should, because privacy is a fundamental human right, if you're looking for privacy, you don't want to touch Microsoft. Now, if you're a business, I also urge you to consider alternatives to the Microsoft Business Suite. There's lots of good options out there, and yes, it may not be industry standard, but they're perfectly cromulent. And then my final gripe, AI. AI is getting shoved into every facet of Windows 11. Like, Notepad has AI, Paint has AI. Nobody asked for this. And it's so ridiculous. There's a Copilot for everything. Excel has Copilot, Word has Copilot, Windows has Copilot, and nobody's asking for this. Nobody's sitting here and going, man, I really wish I could use Copilot and Notepad to write text? What are you doing with Copilot and Notepad? What the hell is that? And like, I would understand if they wanted to have a single system integrated Copilot panel that could interact with all of your applications, but splitting them up so that they're divided between the different programs just seems counterintuitive. Why not just have one centralized Copilot that does everything? Why does there have to be a unique one for every application? Why does Notepad need Copilot? What are you doing in Notepad where it would be useful to have Copilot rewrite something? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. And, of course, there's stuff like image generation, which I've got a whole other problem with. You see, the point of AI was supposed to be that it would do the menial tasks for us so that we wouldn't have to and we could focus on doing creative stuff like art. Unfortunately, the way AI is going right now is it's replacing artists, and now Microsoft is saying crap like 30% of our code is AI generated. And you're the same people who broke localhost on Windows 11 with the last update. So I think that says something about the quality of your code. And that's not even touching on the elephant in the room, which is Windows Recall. For those of you who aren't aware, Windows Recall will take a screenshot of your computer every couple seconds, feed it into an AI model so that you can query the AI model and ask it about what you've been doing on your computer. If that doesn't sound like an absolute privacy nightmare, I don't know what does. And it was really bad when they first announced it because there's like no security on that thing. However, they did backtrack and delay it a little bit so that they could at least put a face scan or fingerprint unlock between you and Recall. Which still, if I'm an attacker who's compromised a machine, I'm probably going to have the user's password at that point, meaning I could just type that in and I would see everything the person did, and it would even very helpfully provide me any sensitive information regarding what the person did. Like and that's just one example. There are countless use cases where this can be abused. There are countless ways this will be abused. And although Microsoft says that it's all happening on your device right now, nothing's going to the cloud, given Microsoft's track record of creating local services and then migrating them to the cloud, I don't expect that to last too long. I mean, I'm just speculating here, but I would be surprised if Recall remained a hardware-bound feature and doesn't expand to the cloud at some point. It's just the trends that Microsoft's following. So yeah, 3 big reasons why you shouldn't use Windows. It's bloated, it's a privacy nightmare, and they're shoving AI into every corner of it. If that's not enough to convince you to switch off Windows, I don't know what will be. And there are decent options out there. Mac OS it's okay, it's better than Windows, it's still not good. Desktop Linux is also an option. It's okay. I mean, I'd say it has the best user experience. You just have to be careful about what distribution you choose so that you're getting one that meets your expectations. For example, I found myself being a Debian guy these days, and I've really been enjoying it. Oh, and if you want to hear more about my Debian 1-month challenge, then subscribe down below. I'm going to post a video once a week about it, and we'll see if Debian can get me to stick on Linux or not. I've been having some disagreements with Linux lately. So anyway, that's all for me. If you want to see more videos like this, consider subscribing. If you liked the video, nobody knows what to do if you like the video. You know, I've heard rumors that there's this button that looks like this, and I've heard rumors that that is liking the video, but nobody knows for sure. So if you could test something out for me and try hitting this button down below, and just let me know what it does, maybe we can get to the bottom of this and figure out what the deal is with that button. Now, if you see a button like this, don't press that one. We know what that one does. That one kills someone's grandma.